Welcome back to your Digital Hustle News. As always, I'm Wade Teamer. Yes, as you can see, guys, the globe has been affected this morning. Markets are down all across the board. Stocks, futures, bonds, currencies, and of course, cryptos. We are down 8% right now, sitting around 43,000. And that's funny because we talked about this last week, guys. 42K was in the future. We had to come down and retest this level. Now, what we didn't potentially see coming is this. This is the biggest fear of the morning right now, the biggest story affecting the crypto space. Evergrande is a large Chinese real estate company, guys. They've owed about $300 billion for quite some time. Now, it's time to pay the debt, and they don't have the money. But why is this important? Well, you see, this particular company is a very crucial component to the Chinese economy over there. Now, at the exact same time, we also have this playing out with a large number of South Korean exchanges. So, when you put these two stories together, guys, when you take into account all the narratives that we have right now, what we are seeing is global manipulation. I'm just going to call it for what it is because all of the stories and narratives that are coming out around this now, they coincide so perfectly with a video that I just impromptu dropped last night. I was going to hold that video until today, until this week, but something told me the story needed to break. And sure enough, the following morning, here we are, guys. Let's get into the charts really quick before we break this news down because there's a couple things I want to show you, okay? On the daily, much like we talked about in previous videos, we have come back down to that $42 level, $4,200 level. But as it stands right now, there's just a wick. We wicked down to it. This candle has been recovering the last couple of hours. I've been monitoring it. But what I am still seeing is that on the weekly, we are still resting above that ultimate level. But I will tell you that the support has shifted down just a bit to 40K. Now, if we happen to go back down to 40K, expect the rest of the market to freak out. You can already see it now. Double digit drops across the board. That happens. But I'm curious to see because if you keep in mind the last couple of corrections we've had, there have been certain altcoins that broke through this. So I'm curious to see which ones will shine this time. As of right now, though, nobody's looking pretty good. But that is how you know. Today is one of those days that indicates to you that it's not just technical and fundamentals that we have to deal with on a regular basis. There's a geopolitical landscape that directly affects each and every one of us, okay? Now, like I said, we're come down a little bit. The resistance is now supporting us, it's now leveling us out, excuse me, at 40K. But I want to show you the monthly, guys, okay? More importantly, this chart up here, because we have been tracking this movement for the last couple of weeks. I remember when we came back down here, I pointed this out to you guys, okay? And I was saying that a scenario would potentially play out where we would come back down to this 61 level, bounce off that line, that would serve as our support and take us to the next leg up, okay? Something had to occur. There needed to be a catalyst. Boy, do we have one. But it looks as though that scenario is going to play out, guys. So that will, in the short term, bring the price down maybe a bit more. I don't want to give a specific number, because a lot of people are taking flack for that right now. But that's why I give you broad perspectives, long term pictures, especially when we look at the charts, because we're in it for the long haul. So if we know, us knowing, us having the bigger picture, me showing you guys these charts the way I showed them to you, we knew this was coming, and we knew the exact number. And of course, where are we sitting at? This morning it was 42. We recovered about 2% from that, but everyone's waking up. The markets are coming online. People are going to see that stocks are down. All the FUD is going to start hitting YouTube and the headlines. Okay. So I expect us to lose maybe a couple grand more. I expect that. Okay. But the monthly indicates that if we don't come all the way down to about 25K, 29, if we break through the 30s, if we see 35K, yeah, then I'm worried. Okay. Then I'm like, all right, bear market, time to accumulate for the next 3 months. This happens. But the technicals don't indicate that. And the fundamentals, what they're indicating is that there is a shift occurring, guys. Let's get into this news because I want to break down some points to you here. Now, Evergrande fears send stock market tumbling. And here's what investors need to know about this Chinese property giant. Now, Evergrande, a Chinese property giant, is nursing more than 300 billion in debt, remains on the brink of default, sending global equities tumbling Monday as investors who have previously ignored the situation begin to pay attention. Fears of a bursting property bubble have long been concerns for investors when it comes to China. A heavily leveraged real estate sector makes up more than 28% of China's economy. Evergrande's dire situation is sparking debate over how Chinese authorities should respond. Meanwhile, holders of Evergrande's approximately 19 billion in dollar-denominated bonds are left to wonder what will become of their investments. Shares of Evergrande 3333, pay attention to that, down 10% and have plunged 83% in the Hong Kong markets. So, what is essentially happening? Evergrande is facing an $83.5 million interest payment on September 23rd. On March 2nd, 22 bonds and a $42.5 million payment on September 29th on its March 2020 on March 24 notes, according to news reports. They got these numbers from these reporting notes that they have to do. So, simply put, guys, these are the numbers that they owe, and these are the dates that they have to pay them. They don't have the money. Okay. According to some sources, they haven't had the money. Now, I was watching a video this morning. It's a global news publication. It's called DW. Okay. I was watching their coverage of it this morning, and the guest that they had on there he hinted at something that caught my attention. Now, the people in charge over there, part of their sentiment is to let this collapse. If so, people over here are comparing it to the 2008 financial crisis. So they are essentially saying if Evergrande falls, then that is going to pull down the rest of the economy in the same way that Lehman Brothers brought down the rest of the economy in 2008. Now, if that is the scenario, what do we know happened a year later? Renaissance, transformation into digital payments. Now, if you go back to that video about the DTCC, and I bring that up again because it's just so happens, it's so funny how they just happen to coincide, but they're setting up blockchain DLT for settlements for stocks. It would make sense that they have to bring the market down just a bit in order to make that transition affordable. Make total sense. Now, when it comes to these headlines and these stories, we all know what the problem is and the reaction. We know the solution. Okay? You got to pay attention to my wording in this particular episode, guys. We have a problem now. Today, maybe the next couple of weeks, we're going to see the reaction to it. And the solution we already know is coming in Q1 of 2022. Many solutions. Okay? there's another source of information that came out earlier in the week too, as when it comes to the Fed and their investing behavior. They're going to start reevaluating those things. Okay, so with all of these smaller pieces coming together, guys, you can see something. There's a tide shifting now. As far as the markets go, guys, because the rest of this information here is about, the 10-year treasury yields and that things that I've kind of already went over. But as far as the market go right now, guys, yes, everything is down. I'm still positive though, because like I said, we see the bigger picture. And I've noticed that a lot of you guys, a lot of my viewers are very strong minded too. So I'm glad I've attracted a very strong minded community and we can get through these things with some clarity and some insight. But looking back at the charts, guys, and once again, it's today is going to be rocky as we recover from this point. Now, of course, like I said, there's always a potential to slip down further as the day progresses. This situation may get worse. There may be some more news to come out stateside. However, we know what's coming around the corner. Now, there's a lot of debate about this being over for Bitcoin. And I'm noticing a pattern with that too. And I'm gonna tell you what it is. I've been watching crypto YouTube now for about 2 years. Okay. And when corrections happen, the change in the content is so drastic. And then all of a sudden, a week later, markets go crazy. And then all of the sentiment changes again. I can't be one of those. I can't be one of those. So I'm always going to keep it 100% honest with you guys, whether it's a bear market or a euphoria bull market. Okay, we're breaking six-figure Bitcoin now. But like I said, guys, yeah, things are down right now. Some of our favorite picks have taken some hits, but sweet opportunities, man. H bar disappointed, yes, but it coming back down to the 30 cent range. And if you know what we know about what's coming in Q1 of 2022, that's another thing, guys. All of these developments and these projects, they keep hinting at January. They keep hinting at Q1, Q2 of 2022. So if the rest of this year doesn't pan out the way that everybody has anticipated it to pan out since the beginning of the year, we know that Q1 and Q2 is going to be full of developments and uh, and advancements when it comes from technological perspective. Okay, so but speaking on the subject of H bar, us knowing what they're about to get into, guys, this is the best opportunity. Okay. Same with projects like IOTX. Okay. Alchemy Pay. If you want to get in on that run when it happens the next time, this is where you enter. Render, another good project. ICP, that's a project I'm going to start introducing you guys to because they were one of those chosen. Okay. Sensorium, again, V chains back down into the single digits. Now, here's the funny thing, like I said earlier, or earlier in the year when we had that correction, if VChain doesn't go below 2 cents, I'm not gonna be afraid. VChain is my personal marker for a ultimate bear market. Okay, if I ever see VChain hit 2 cents again, then I know it's yeah. Okay, then I know there's some real damage, but that's not likely. That's not likely in my opinion. Not looking at VeChain's weeklies. Look at that. Sweet contraction here, guys. VeChain might be the one to break out of this first. Okay, glad I brought this up so we could see that, guys. But eGold came back down under 200. But like I said, guys, oh yeah, you see that? That's what they call oversold territory. Okay, it's it's definitely going to be spring reaction. All of this FUD right now, all of these narratives that's coming into play, it's definitely going to it's not going to last long in my opinion. But Digibyte down That's almost a steal. That is, as a matter of fact, that is a steal with the amount of developments that we know are on the timeline for Digibyte. That's a steal. If you're new to the space and you're being exposed to different communities, Digibyte community is going to be one that's going to reach out to you. Trust and believe. Okay, very strong, very good people, very forward thinking people. This asset being at this price, if you're coming into the space right now, consider yourself lucky. Okay, again, IOTA, another beautiful buy opportunity. European Union. That's all I gotta say. Decentraland. XRPs. Oh boy. XRP back down under $1. Okay. I'm gonna get rid of that. XRP back down under $1, ladies and gentlemen. To get into an XRP conversation, I would need to make a whole nother video. And yeah, we're just gonna stay away from that for right now. Stellar Lumens, another one, guys. Come on now, 28 cents. Really? Charts looking the same. Looking the same. Okay. This was just a shakeout and fake out. But with us knowing what's coming down the road, guys, that's what that is the most important skill set to have when these prices go down, is a vision of the future. Okay, so that's why I give you a global perspective, guys, global picture of what's happening right now. A lot of crypto YouTubers are going to come. They're going to come with their opinions and this, that, and the third, and these charts and these stock to flow patterns, and I get all of that. I understand, but times are changing now. The geopolitical landscape has its hands in our business, right? So we always have to be aware of that. Okay. But with all that being said, guys, of course, if you found value in this video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe so that you never miss an update. Just watch this situation as it evolves, guys. Okay. It's kind of got an effect on all of us. However, we have strategies. We know which projects, which technologies are driving innovation, where we know which project is going to directly fix this problem. Because another point I want to make before we go is, notice how this is real estate. Okay. Evergrande is China's biggest real estate company, 28% of its GDP. What has been the focus behind the scenes when it comes to the tokenization of real estate? Let me take you back to that interview with DW. Guy said, an idea that they're proposing is to let it fall and then fractionalize the debt. I'll just leave you with that. I'll see you in the next video.